So hello again, everyone, and welcome to our next video cast that we are doing every day now at Travel Weekly to keep you connected. Today, we're going to be looking at the impact of COVID-19 on the river cruise sector, and I'm delighted that I'm joined today by three experts in that field. And so I've got Giles Hawke, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Avalon. I've got Kristen Cast, who is the co-owner and Executive Vice President of AMA Waterways. And I'm joined by Andy Harmer, who is the Senior Vice President of Membership and the Director of CLIA UK and Ireland. So thank you, all of you, for giving up your time. I know we're all working from home, but we're very busy still. So thank you for sparing the time. Let's just start with you, Andy. Let's talk about how the river cruise sector was faring before this global pandemic hit. I remember talking about it being one of the fastest growing sectors in travel. So tell us a little bit about where it was.
Yeah, and I think actually if you go back all the way back to 2011, which is when CLIA held the first river cruise conference in Amsterdam, and over those last 9-10 years, what's happened is, as you say, it's become one of the fastest growing sectors in travel. And that was driven really by new ships, new products, new experiences ashore, but also because it was really taken to heart by the travel agent community, who really worked very hard to increase their knowledge and expertise so that they could start selling river cruise holidays to people who'd never taken a river cruise before. So the last stats we had put the numbers from the UK at around 230,000 guests, which was a rise of just over 10% on the previous year. So absolutely fast growing. And what we've seen over the last couple of years also is the number of river destinations have grown, as have the number of new ships. And I think we've talked a lot, including with you, Lucy, we've talked a lot about some of the innovation and some of the new initiatives that the river cruise operators have brought in, meaning that it's grown the number of people who would want to take a river cruise. So, and I think that that growth, I think, is testament to that community, that relationship between the river cruise operators and travel agents.
Yeah, and you could see that actually in the conference that you mentioned, the first one there in Amsterdam, but every year it has been growing and loads more agents wanting to know about it. So thank you for that. Let's just talk then to both of you who are operating river cruise products. Giles, let's start with you. I mean, I know it's been a couple of weeks now, probably since, you know, the real emergency, the real crisis hit. So what was it like for you in terms of operationally? What happened and how did you deal with it, and then how did you communicate to the trade partners?
Well, from a river cruise perspective, operation has been pretty challenging. We've got all of our crew, all of our vessels. We had a lot of people on vessels over on the Mekong. The main European season hadn't fully started, so we were sort of just getting crew going. We had very few people actually traveling at that time. So from an operation perspective of getting people back, we weren't in full swing. Had it been maybe a month later, it would have been even more challenging. But getting people back even from Cambodia was a challenge. We had people on one of our ships. We had them all tested. None of them were COVID-19 positive, but the Cambodian authorities wouldn't let them off the ship. So that took some negotiation through the various embassies of the guests. So we were contacting the British Embassy and the US Embassy, and they were helping us negotiate with the Cambodian authorities to ultimately get the guests off and get them home. So it's been pretty hectic trying to deal with all our sort of traveling passengers. And then the follow-up from that is the sort of ongoing cancellation of cruises up and coming. And again, we've now cancelled at Avalon, cancelled all our cruises up until the end of June, and we're in the process right now of communicating to customers for May and June to let them know. And it's been a challenging time. Clearly, the impact on the business. You know, everyone is extraordinarily busy, both us and travel agent partners, and we're all being very busy without actually money coming in to help sort of fund our businesses. We're busy making sure our customers are looked after. Those who haven't travelled, having their cruises cancelled. We're doing everything we can to encourage them to travel with us again in the future, to make a future booking, to take a credit letter with an enhancement on it, so that they will get to have a cruise. It just won't be in the first bit of this year.
Okay, we want to talk about that. Let's come back to that, but let's just bring Kristen in. similar experience to Giles, or how was, how challenging has it been for you running AMA and through this difficult period?
Absolutely. We had actually our first charter on the AMA Magna on March 15. And until March 12, this charter was a go. I was actually on my flight to Europe almost. and then everything stopped. The countries in Europe were closing, flight cancellations, the warnings in the US, and the crew was on board. Pretty much the food deliveries, all the great wines. The ship was completely stocked, and then we decided we just cannot do it. And from there on, the situation really developed day by day by day. Always something new was happening. And I would really say it was the first 2 weeks in March, the most difficult ones, where we had to act so quickly. And then, of course, everything came into place, kind of the process, as Charles is saying, what to do now, to suspend the cruises, making a plan, working with future cruise credits. On the other side, we also had to give the option for a refund. Yeah. But really, we wanted to incentivize our travel partners to go for the FCC, because we all want to travel and travel will come back. So our first option was to offer a future cruise credit of 115%. And our travel partners would get full commission protection, plus we would pay an additional 10% for the next cruise. So if it was like 15% now, at the time where the cruise was suspended, and then if the FCC is accepted, maybe for Q4 or 2021, or maybe even 2021, 22, because these FCCs are valid until the end of December 2022. They are also transferable, because in river cruising, we have a lot of clients, they say, I'm getting older now, and maybe I'm not able to travel anymore. But they all have, or many have, families. And we all know that river cruising has gotten so much younger that it's not just the 70 or 80-year-old is traveling. It's so many more active people today, families. And so, yeah, the cruise vouchers are transferable. And really then after that time, if they don't want to go with the credit, then we can either extend it again, or then we are offering a full refund. So it's going through all these processes, of course, explaining everything to our travel partners, yeah, why, and also why our guests should not give up, because as we all say, the food chain is very, very long, starting from all of us working in the travel industry, our communities, even the tour guides, everyone is affected. And nobody should let tourism die. Tourism travel is in our DNA, and we all want to travel again. And now we are all confined to our homes, and we feel how hard it is. Personally, my parents live in Germany still. They are 82, 86. I just, wake up every morning in the hope that, they are fine. And that's the same I know with so many families around. Yeah. While my younger daughter is actually texting me to say, Mom, when this is over, we need to take a weekend break and just enjoy mother-daughter time together. And I think everyone is feeling this and is going through this.
Okay, all right, that's really interesting. Now, Giles, you mentioned that you're offering, let's just talk about this, what you're offering to customers that have had to have their cruises cancelled. You said you're trying to send these credit letters, but you're offering an enhancement as well. So what have you been doing? And then I want to ask you both what the uptake has been, because I did an interview with Uniworld and they were saying it was about a third. So a third happy to take the credit notes, a third of them wanting a refund, and a third haven't actually made a decision yet and are waiting to see. So tell us what you're doing, Giles, and then what the response has been from your customers.
So we're offering a credit note for obviously the full value of the holiday, adding in £150. We're allowing people the same to book any of our products, so whether it be on River Cruise or our touring product, up until the end of 2022. So it's got a really long duration. We're also, like AMA, allowing people to that voucher, that credit note, to be transferable to family or friends if they decide they don't want to go. Clearly, that's in our best interest, in the best interest of our agent partners, and ultimately I honestly believe it's in the customer's best interest. They're going to get the holiday they wanted to go on, they'd already committed to. We probably, that third is probably about right. That's a similar mix to what we're getting. We haven't yet gone out with May and June. As I say, we're just in the process of doing that. I'm hoping we'll get a higher take up of taking the credit note as we come into May and June, but we'll have to see. We've got to go with what the customers want to do. So we're sending out a letter offering the credit note with the enhancement. If they want that, they don't need to do anything. If they don't want that, then they need to contact us. We've then got very sort of talented salespeople in our contact centre who'll be trying to encourage them, explain to them why having a credit note with that enhancement is good for them, all the benefits. And we've seen quite a few people just from our April departures that we cancelled, changing their mind whilst on the phone to our staff when they sort of realised actually they've already made the commitment, they already want to go, they were looking forward to it, they're about to go, and they still want to take that holiday. So I'm hoping we'll see a higher take up. I mean, clearly, if people want their money back, we'll give their money back. But I think, what we want to do, we know that people are going to want to travel again. We know they already want to do a river cruise. So it would be crazy for them not to just take that commitment to doing that river cruise in the future.
Okay. Andy, I will come to you in a second because I do want to talk about what Clear's done. But just one other point that agents have been raising about cruising in general, so not just river, but they're a bit frustrated that you're only cancelling for a certain period and then they're trying to rebook people, but then of course you're extending out those ceasing operations, and then you're going to probably do it again. And now there's probably an operational reason for you doing that. I guess you don't want to cancel everything or too much too soon, but I think agents are finding that quite difficult because they're basically trying to rebook at a certain time and then the next lot get cancelled. So you, Giles, said you'd cancelled up until June. Is that the same for you, Amma, or are you taking it month by month?
We have suspended currently until May 31st. We will make another decision very shortly again. Because the situation is so fluid, it is very hard to really predict what's happening in the next few months. However, working with our travel partners, one by one, we are very flexible in the options that we are giving and extending the FCCs. If somebody has a booking, let's say in July or August, they can move it ahead to the end of the season or next year.
So even if it's not in the current suspension period, you're still being flexible on that as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Flexibility is the key. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was just one of the feedback I picked up. Andy, what about you? You're talking to travel agent members of Clear all the time. What are the key concerns or challenges that they've come to Clear about that they need support with?
I think like most people, we're all kind of adjusting to this new normal. And I think travel agents have worked incredibly hard over the past couple of weeks, particularly dealing with customer requests, dealing with cancellations or rebooking, or even just reassuring guests that their holidays are going ahead, whether it's later in this year or next year, etc. So yes, we do talk to our travel agent partners a lot. We also talk to the river cruise community quite a lot. So we talk to river cruise operators, whether they're based in North America or Europe or Australia, just to make sure that as a community we continue to communicate and talk to each other about the situation. I think travel agents, like most of us, are concerned about when this is all going to end. I think they're concerned about when the old normal, if there is such a thing, is going to return. I think a lot of the managers I've spoken to are, of course, concerned about their staff and making sure that they are coping with the situation and continuing to adjust. So I think it's been a number of things, but I've heard a lot of praise from travel agents around the support that they've got from the river cruise operators and the understanding between each other and really that focus on the customer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. Giles, let's talk to you then, because obviously I guess the immediate concern has been helping agents with the cancellations and rebookings. Have you started to communicate with them on other things yet in terms of training and education in this period while people are not obviously in their shops selling, or is it too soon for that? Or at what point do you sort of change the message of communication to into a sort of looking more into the future?
Yeah, so I think initially the first few weeks, and it is so fresh still, the first few weeks was all about sort of the real practical considerations of what we're doing to cancel the bookings, getting customers home. Then it moved into sort of reassurance, and I think reassurance is going to have to continue now for a period of time of, you know, we're here, we're supporting you, we've still got a product, we're still, you know, we're still operating as a business. And actually in the last week, we've actually had a number of bookings for 2021, so new bookings coming in, and we've actually had some travel agents saying to us, please, because we've stopped sending deals. We sort of thought, let's just focus on the immediate future. Everyone's really busy. No one wants us to do a sales job for 2021. And we've had a number of agents actually come to us say, can you give us prices and deals for 2021? We're still getting customers interested. And I think what we're seeing, you know, even just through our website, we're seeing brochure requests coming in. So I think there is something about people being stuck at home, can't move, can't go anywhere, doing that sort of dreaming, researching, planning stage, because they know at some point it's going to come back. And I do think when it does, you know, and it's when, not if, there will be a big flood of bookings coming in of people who've just spent their time sitting there. They know exactly what they want to do, when they want to do it. So we are providing some deals and some prices to travel agents. We're looking, you know, how far ahead we can get on sale with something concrete that people can book. And then just making sure we're available for our travel agents. We also, within our business, we launched a new training platform. You could argue at the worst possible time, it was literally at the back end of February, early March. But we just launched that. So there is something there concrete for travel agents to go into and do. It's a new platform, new training. So yeah, I think people will, once they get over the sort of slurry of cancellations and dealing with the immediate issues, there will be time available. And I think one of the great things about the furlough process that lots of travel companies and lots of companies are using generally is that people are still allowed to train. So, you know, if people are stuck at home, they're not allowed to work because they're on furlough, they can still do their self-development, do their learning, do their training. And that means that they're better positioned when it does come back and when they're back into work again.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, very, very good. Kristen, let's just ask you on the sort of the wider picture. There was a report last week from Deloitte saying that obviously it was going to take some time for travel, you know, to recover, and they singled out cruise in general, not river, but cruise in general, as perhaps taking a little bit longer. And that was echoed in a report in The Economist just this morning. So do you think river will be part of that longer, you know, part of the cruise generally, or do you think river might come back sooner? I mean, we obviously haven't seen the images of all the problems that the ocean cruise sector has had on the national news for river, so perhaps it might escape that. What's your view?
We definitely river will come back sooner, and we talked to a lot of our travel partners, and there is a lot of rebooking to the river actually happening right now. Groups that we are booking for 21, 22 already. We also try to stimulate this. We have our webinar Wednesdays. Just yesterday, we did a wonderful webinar with some of our best travel advisors coming on board, sharing their best practices and talking about the river and what they love so much about the small personal size of a river cruise ship. So this definitely helps our BDMs, our sales force. They are calling all our agents right now, trying to extend help, trying to do virtual cruise nights.
Oh, really?
Actual cruise nights, actually, that should have happened with the travel partner and the consumer. Now we do it in a virtual way. And believe it or not, but we even get group bookings coming in this way. Yeah. Fantastic. So that's a wonderful part of training, both for the travel partners and for the consumers. We definitely have to plant the seed now. This is the time. This is the time to, get all the plans into place. This is the time to really book forward to create a group, because later when everything starts again, we won't have the time anymore.
Yeah.
This is really the time to reflect on everything, to look at pictures, share memories, share them with all your clients, reach out to them. We have to be engaged more than ever.
And
And I
consider
think
whether you could get into group sales. I think if you haven't done that before, you could look at that. Absolutely.
Completely. Out of sight, out of mind, we always say, right? And so that's why, yes, everyone is more busy than ever, I would say. All our teams are working from home, but every morning we start a video call, which is right after this one here. And, you know, we bring us up to speed. It's the community that we have with each other, that we encourage each other as well, make the plan what to do next. And I think this will be very, very important to bring everything back to life.
Okay.
And I'm very convinced that the reverse will be stronger than ever again.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Well, Andy, Kristen mentioned community there. And of course, you've built a really strong community in the UK of clear agents, clear members. One very sad thing is obviously your main annual conference. You've had to cancel that or postpone it. So that would have been one place that agents would have come to learn. I know you do lots of other things, but just perhaps give us an idea of what you've been doing or what you're planning to do to help with all. I know the individual lines are doing their own thing with regard to training, but what have you been up to?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
In your cupboard there.
And actually, I think that word community has become really important. I think in many ways, those bonds between this community has become stronger than ever. I think we as a global river cruise community are talking more than we ever did. I think if you take the Clear team, we now have a daily video call each morning. We never did team meetings, or we very rarely had the opportunity to do team meetings. And I hope the same, and I'm sure the same is being replicated across the industry. We've done a lot of things. We're very much listening to what people's feedback is. We're very much listening to what people want from the industry, want from Clear moving forward. I think a lot of people now are getting ready to start thinking about that recovery period and when things change again. I think a lot of individuals are using the time, to Giles' point, a lot of individuals are using the time for their own learning and taking responsibility.
Are you seeing more people coming on your website to train? Have you seen like an uptake in that yet, or maybe it's just a little bit too soon if they've been busy with the
no, and certainly we've had a couple of big travel agents come to us and start talking about online learning and, you know, ensuring that their access is correct. But I think, like most businesses, we're seeing a lot of additional traction across our social media platforms as well. I think people are watching more video, certainly our podcast. People are listening to our podcast more. So I think people are maybe finding time to fit these things in that maybe they couldn't do because of the commute or because of other responsibilities they had. So I think it's become a very interesting time. And I think as we're living at home and becoming much more focused on our own abilities and our own learning, then people are perhaps taking more responsibility in that area too.
Okay, well, I certainly didn't know how to do this 2 weeks ago. I had no idea how to make a video call or do any kind of video learning. I can't stop. So, all right, well, we're coming a little bit, very close to time now, but let's just finish off with each of you then. I mean, we'd like to end on a positive note. You've all talked about how you do believe it comes back. None of us have got a crystal ball, but what would your advice be to your trade partners who might be listening to this? If they were sitting at home now and thinking perhaps they hadn't got into river cruise before, or perhaps they hadn't, it was becoming a big part of their business that they've lost, what would you say to them? Giles, starting with you, if they're feeling, you know, a bit anxious and worried about their businesses.
I think, you know, the focus on self-development, learning, being ready for when it comes back. I think there's a big point around just keeping in touch with customers, past customers, new people on their databases, reassuring them that travel is still going to happen. They will be traveling again, and giving them sort of exciting ideas. And you know, so not doing a hard sell saying, here's a deal on this date at this price, but more sort of dropping in ideas, planting seeds around, you know, have you ever thought about going to the Danube? Here's reasons why you'd go to the Danube. Have you ever thought about the Mekong? Here's some reasons why. And just sort of, you know, painting pictures and helping people dream a little bit so that they're ready for when it does come back. And I think almost then developing their sort of their own individual bounce back plan of when we know a country or a region or a destination is open again, when we know that we can go there, how are they going to maximize the opportunity that offers them? So I think there's some planning to do, and some sort of forward thinking around how you're going to do things differently. How are you going to grab your share of business once people are ready to book again?
Okay. And Kristen, let's just pick up on a point you made earlier about how, you know, everyone would think that river cruise market is for the maturer traveller, and that's undeniable. You do have a lot of people traveling with you that are older, but you were saying it can be for younger people. So should perhaps, you know, they may be more reticent even when this is over. I guess some older people may be a bit more nervous, particularly with health conditions and stuff. So should people be looking to broaden who they're selling a river cruise to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it has, of course, proven that families can have a wonderful time on board a river cruise ship. The market is expanding. We have built our ships this way. We have ships with connecting cabins. You know, we really have welcomed a lot of families on board. We have our wellness hosts on board. River cruising has become extremely active with the bikes and the hikes and everything what we offer. But I also feel it's very important for all of us to keep our optimism, to keep the options open for our clients, clients want options, to really put ourselves always into their shoes. I usually use my 3 Ps on top of it. Passion, it's important that we stay on top with our passion, pioneer spirit, with our trade partners, because it was our travel agents. They created a relationship with the clients and the trust. They know them. And that's what I have also seen when it comes with the conversion, either future credits or credit notes or cash refunds. The travel partners who have an amazing relationship with their travel, with their guests, who are reaching out to them all the time, who stay connected, have a much higher chance of conversion into a future cruise credit. And that's my advice. And that's the same what we are doing. I mentioned our BDMs, our sales force. Just, you know, to continue, stay connected, to be creative, to share these great memories. To really, I mean, right now we only look at pictures and videos and do all of these, but we are dreaming. We are dreaming into the future. And once the future is open again, everyone will go. And I think we have to keep this positive spirit. If we don't do it, then there is no leadership. How can we really inspire our clients? So that's extremely important to keep it all going.
Okay.
And we will. The rivers are flowing. There is the heart in the rivers. They continue to flow, and we will flow with them in the future.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, I hope it's sooner rather than later. And final word from you, Andy. You know, as head of CLIA, what would be your passing, you know, words to the agent community?
Well, and I think we started by saying that the growth in river cruising over the last 10 years has been down to that community, that sense of community. And I just think it's a reassuring message to the travel agents and to the travel trade that the river cruise community continues to work together with travel partners, with our other stakeholders to make sure that we continue into the future. So we're here and we're working together, and we're doing our best in what is a very difficult situation.
I'm sure, yes, you all are. Well, listen, thank you for your time today. We're at the end of half an hour, so thank you very much for joining us. We wish you all the best, and I'm sure agents will get right behind you. So thank you to Giles from Avalon, to Kristen from Amma Waterways, and to Andy from CLIA. Thank you very much.
Thank you.